What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda. As always, I'm your host Craig, and it is a pleasure to be with you folks this evening. I can see the chat is starting to fill up. Thank you guys so much as always for coming in and giving us your time this evening. I know there's lots of stuff going on, but this is the hour where we sit back and have a little bit of fun and distract ourselves from the madness that is 2020. I hope that you're all doing well, folks. Lovely to see you in the chat. As I said, I've loads of stuff to get through tonight. You probably know from the stream title what we're going to be talking about. The Billy Bean, the Moneyball situation, the potential investment in FSG. We're going to have a look ahead to a few other bits and pieces as well. We're going to talk about Kylian Kelleher tonight and him potentially getting a shot in goal. Loads of other stuff as well. As always, if you have any comments or anything that you want to speak about, please do put it into the chat and I will do my best to get through it. You guys know me at this point. I do a little bit of my stuff, I dip in and do a little bit of your stuff, but it's your show. You let me know what way you want it to go. Right, how are we, everyone? It's my break time, said Raheem. Well in, mate. I'm glad that you popped on here for a minute to spend some of your break with us. Rob Shepherd, lovely to see you in, buddy, and I am very good, thank you for asking. Right, what else is there? Any more? Hello. A few hellos, hello. Just joined. What have you all been up to? Nothing, just a few hellos. Right, look, let's start tonight with Stevie G. A name that we haven't spoken about for a while on the channel. Steven Gerrard has been nominated for the Ballon d'Or Dream Team. Unlike Scholes, Lampard or any other overhyped English midfielder that opposition fans like to pretend is anywhere near Steven Gerrard's class, we all know they never were, they never will be. Steven Gerrard has always been a level above these guys, which is why he's the only one of them that's in this or has been nominated for this Ballon d'Or Dream Team, because that's where he belongs. Stevie G is up there in a class of his own. So let me know your thoughts on that one, folks. Let me know if you thought there were some omissions in that potential Dream Team that you think should be in there. Let me know if you think it's all a load of nonsense as well. I'm sure it's not bothering Steven Gerrard too much, to be fair, but it's always nice when a former Red gets a little recognition like that. We always knew the calibre of Stevie G. We always knew that he was a generational player. Love the guy. Still love him. Carried this club at times on those very broad shoulders of his. Gave us some of the best moments. I was lucky enough to spend some time on Twitter over the past few days looking at people who've put up compilations of Stevie G's goals, and you almost forget how many amazing moments Gerrard gave us. How many times he dug us out of a hole with moments of individual brilliance or a rally call or that brought the whole team together. I mean, the image that immediately comes to my mind is the header he scored in the Champions League final, and immediately he was rallying the team to, come on, let's go, we can do this. And that's Steven Gerrard. That's why he is the man that he is. That's why he had the career that he has, albeit I know opposition fans are going to say, didn't win the Premier League. Fair enough, he didn't. We can't argue with that. But he's still a better player than any other English midfielder of that generation, and that is without question, in my humble opinion anyway. Amen, put Gerrard on there, said Josh Dunn. Elijah John said happy Thanksgiving. Is it Thanksgiving in America yet? That's November, isn't it? We're way ahead on that one, mate. This channel is entertaining, said Joe Gomez. That's the plan, buddy. That is the plan, that we come in here, we talk about the Reds for an hour or so, we forget about our worries and our woes, and we have a little bit of a laugh along the way. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Gerrard is a top talent, said GFW reporter. Ofa Frank won't be happy with that, said Tom Boland. It's okay, mate. He can console himself by having a little hug with Mason Mount and maybe trying to... I have this weird thing that I think Lampard almost views Mason Mount as him, reincarnated to some extent. We don't need to get into that today, though. WFM, said Shanzo the man. WFM indeed. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I've been speaking to you for a while about memberships, and Connor has gladly done up a new image for us so that we can talk about it. This is what you get if you click that blue join button. Click the blue join button to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC. You get everything on the screen there that you can see beside me now. The loyalty badges, they start off as bronze, they become silver, gold, and then red the longer you're with us. That appears beside your name of the channel. You also get used to those custom emojis that you can see on the screen there now. Take your pick of the favourites. For me, it's WFM and probably C Senor. I always like to go to that one as well. And you get access to the Anfield Agenda Discord group as well. So if you want to become a member, it's $4.99 a month for Anfield Agenda FC. And that's what you get for your $4.99 a month. Anyway, back to the studio. Right, what else have we got in the chat? World domination. Yeah, look, I've loads to get through with regards to the investment. I'm just kind of killing a little bit of time here for the chat to fill up. Those who watch this on a regular basis probably know that the first 10 or 15 minutes of the stream, it's just introductions and us chatting away while the chat fills up. Because we're a live channel, a lot of what we do depends on the chat being busy, so I kind of wait for it to fill up a bit before I get into the real meat of today's stories. It's Thanksgiving in Canada, is it? Well, happy Thanksgiving to any of our Canadian viewers. Gerrard for the Ballon d'Or 2020, said Mark Caldwell. What else is there? Click the join button, but I'm not a member, said Joe Gomez. Oh well. You tried, mate. You almost got there. Look, a little bit of stuff on potential transfers as well. Mundo Deportivo have reported that Barcelona are planning January moves for Gini Wijnaldum, Memphis Depay and Eric Garcia. They say that Barcelona hope to get them all on the cheap because of their contractual situation. So, I don't know if Liverpool will allow Gini Wijnaldum to leave in January. I would be very surprised if they did. I think from Liverpool's perspective, it'll either be that Gini Wijnaldum signs a new deal with us, or he sees out the rest of the season and then does whatever Gini Wijnaldum wants to do when he sees out his contract. And yes, he could potentially sign a pre-contract with Barcelona in January. And if he did, I would expect that to be kind of kept private. We've seen these in the past. You often see it with English teams. Players will reach an agreement with a club, but out of respect for the club that they're at, even though they may have signed that pre-contract agreement, they try and keep it quiet because they want to fulfill the season, because they are professionals after all. So look, let me know your thoughts on that one. They're all players that Barcelona tried to get in the last window, but they couldn't get over the line because of the financial constraints that they're currently working with. And you can see here, this is good news from an English club's perspective, by the way. The calibre of player they're looking at here now, although Gini is class as well, they're trying to shop in the cheap supermarkets now because they can't afford to live at the top table anymore, because the English football clubs are the powerhouses now of world football pretty much. And yes, but Bayern Munich are always going to be there. They're a fantastically run side, so you'll always have them in Germany. But Real Madrid, Barcelona, times are a-changing, folks, and they're starting to look at the way Liverpool are going about their business now and investing in young talent and stuff. And we've seen Manchester United kind of cast their eye in a similar way as well. You know, English clubs have the power right now, and if you're looking at Barcelona, if you're a Barca fan right now and you know you need a rebuild, and you know Messi's, probably running down his contract and potentially leaving, albeit he will be finishing up in 3 or 4 years anyway, you look at that team right now and you just think it needs massive investment and it needs some world-class players. And yes, they have the likes of Ansu Fati and stuff coming through, and some very good young players there, Ricky Puig and the like, but they're still going to need those players to continue to develop, and they're still going to need some little star power there, and they don't have the money right now, which makes me smile, because Liverpool are in a very good position right now financially, albeit not as good a position as the owners would of course want it to be because of the current situation in the world. But just let you know that we're a well-run club. Shaqiri playing for Switzerland, said somebody. Yeah, that was a strange situation. I don't even want to get into the testing at the minute, because I'm going to do a little segment on international football later on in the stream, because it's starting to get beyond a joke at this point, the amount of clubs that are receiving players back now that can't play because of a positive test. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. Brian said Gini will be missed, but he's not completely irreplaceable. He's not. No, mate, he's absolutely not. And we have Thiago in there, as you said. And to me, I see Gini being with us this season as nothing but a bonus, because in the summer, I'd prepared myself mentally for the fact that if we brought Thiago in, we're most likely going to be losing Gini Wijnaldum, and that isn't the case. We have him, and it looks like for the season. So to me, this is all bonus territory with Gini Wijnaldum. Having him at the club along with Thiago, Fabinho, Hendo, Millie, and all the other central midfielders that we have, Naby Keita, the list goes on, Curtis Jones, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's great, and gives the manager lots of options, but also lots of headaches. Caspria said, is it Saturday yet? I hear you. I feel your pain. This international break is ridiculous. It just seems so long, and there's still another round of games to go tomorrow before we can finally knock this nonsense on the head. Unfortunately, only until November, when there is yet another international break. Now, we'll talk about that later on. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off tonight with a conversation around the goalkeeper situation. And John Achterberg has been speaking about the Reds goalkeeper situation, and in particular about Kylian Kelleher. Here's what John Achterberg had to say. The end of this, what I'm about to read out, by the way, folks, I think you can really see potentially a little bit of a secret being let out here by John Achterberg, but I'll go through it and we'll see what you all think. So here's what John Achterberg had to say about Kylian Kelleher. He would like to play games, and obviously that would be easier if he went out on loan, but the problem for us is we need these good goalies, and he is one of our 3. For his development, a loan move would be his next step, but the club have to make sure they have everything covered in case we have a problem with our keepers, and we know it will be hard to find a keeper as good as him if we let him go out on loan. It's not the ideal solution for him, and maybe playing matches will be what he needs now, but he is training with top goalkeepers every day at Liverpool, playing in our under-23 games, and that will allow him to continue to progress. Working with somebody as good as Alisson every day for the last couple of years can only help him. He sets such high standards in everything he does, and you can only learn from working with somebody like that. The higher level you train every day allows you to take your career up to the next level, but it would be the best solution for him to have a spell on loan at some point. What I would say is, we would have no issue putting him into a game, and I know the manager has faith in him as well. This manager shows great interest in everyone in his squad. He appreciates that you need a big squad to win anything, and it might be what we need to play our third choice keeper in a game, a big game at some point. Kylian has all the attributes to be a top keeper, and maybe he'll get his chance to play in the first team at Liverpool sooner than we expect. That last sentence there. Maybe he'll get his chance to play in the first team at Liverpool sooner than we expect. So, are we reading between the lines here? Do we see a potential start for Kylian Kelleher in the derby, or are we looking a little bit further ahead here? Is John Achterberg just trying to keep spirits up with the club? I don't know. There's been very little stuff in the media now realistically linking us to the likes of Jack Butland or Ben Foster. More fan stuff and just articles to drive interest, not really concrete interest that I've seen, more just to get clicks and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think on this one. Big match coming up on Saturday. I know it divides opinion amongst Liverpool fans. A lot of people saying keep faith with Adrian. Some other people saying play Kylian Kelleher. And then others saying go in and try and make use of this domestic window. Interesting stuff there from John Achterberg though. And it looks like we could be seeing Kylian Kelleher given a chance at some point. It just remains to be seen. Will it be the derby or not? So Joe Gomez says give Kelleher a chance. Can't wait for the derby. Let's go Kelleher, said Keegan Murphy. What else is there? Massive red herring, said Neil Davies. Interesting, Neil. Do expand on that, mate, in the chat if you want to. Kelleher is horrible, mate. Well, if you're going to spell his name and slag him off, mate, at least try and get his name anywhere near correct. You've spelled it Keller. So I'm not going to take the opinion of somebody who can't spell the name correctly seriously, mate, because if you can't be arsed to spell his name correctly, I'm not really going to believe that you spent the time actually watching Kylian Kelleher, whereas I have spent time watching Kylian Kelleher, and I do have belief that Kylian Kelleher can come in and do a job. I'm not saying that he's the long-term solution for Liverpool, but I absolutely believe that he could come in and do a job as good as, if not better than, Adrian. And my point on this would be, and I've said this numerous times and I don't like going back over it, but there are certain tipping points in a goalkeeper's career at a club. Mignolet got to the point where no matter what happened, you're always just waiting for the next error. It was just a matter of when and not if, and you could feel that. You could feel it from the players, you could feel it inside the stadium, you could even feel it when you're sitting at home watching it on the TV. Adrian could get to the same point right now. Obviously Karius's was fast-tracked because of where it happened and stuff as well, but I just think with Kylian Kelleher, why not give him a chance? If we put Adrian in goal, we're all going to be sitting around waiting for that next mistake. Whatever we say, whether we want to not admit it to ourselves or try and make out like we're all great super fans and we've nothing but support in the lad, you know that deep down you've got doubts about Adrian. You know that. So if we have that as fans, what are the players going to have? Yes, they'll come out and say they've got faith in their squad. And yes, of course, they're a very tight-knit group. But I keep going back to Virgil van Dijk's face 4.5 minutes into that game against Villa. That's not the expression of somebody who really does have faith in that goalkeeper. So to me, I don't see the problem with giving Kylian Kelleher a chance. I don't see what Kylian Kelleher could do that would be any less potentially disastrous than Adrian. That's just my take on it. Pat Moynihan said, give my fellow Cork man a chance. I think it's unfair for Kelleher, said SDB. If he puts in a bad performance, that will be all he's remembered for. But that's the whole thing, isn't it? There are sink or swim moments in life. And this could be either the making of Kylian Kelleher, as you've said, but I don't think it would be the breaking of him. And I know Brian spoke about this in the chat the other night as well. He was thinking the same thing, that if Kylian Kelleher gets in and doesn't hit the ground running, doesn't put in a great performance, will that dent his career moving forward? Well, that's up to the coaches and the club to make sure it doesn't. And of course it's up to Kylian as well, that if and when he does get that opportunity, that he does make the most of it. And if something does go wrong, see it as a learning experience. I would say we've given the likes of Neco Williams opportunities when he was coming through. He made mistakes. We've given the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold opportunities when he's coming through. He made mistakes. Joe Gomez, he made mistakes. It's going to happen with any young player, whatever position that they're in. It just happens to be that when you're a goalkeeper and that mistake comes, it usually costs your team a goal, and then it's just a matter of, is that goal important? Does it cost you points? Or can you cover up that mistake by going and outscoring the opposition and getting the points anyway? So I would say, give him a chance. Yes, he may make mistakes, but that's surely part of the learning experience for any goalkeeper, is to go out there, get the opportunity, and prove that you will or won't make these mistakes. And if you do make them, learn to come back from them. Whereas if you give Adrian the opportunity and he makes a mistake, well, it's countdown time anyway to when he's going to be replaced until his contract runs down and when Alisson comes back. So long term, it's more beneficial for the club, in my opinion, to give the opportunity to Kylian to prove himself, because he's our player, and he's a player that could be here for the next 10 years against Adrian, who is our player, but will be leaving at the end of the season most likely. That's my viewpoint on it anyway. Adrian is done. He doesn't take responsibility, said Chanzo the man. Up the cork, said E-Boy. What else have we got? Obviously nobody watched Kelleher play before because he has made mistakes. Every goalkeeper in the history of goalkeeping has made mistakes, mate. Everybody. You pick the greatest goalkeepers of all time and I'll show you 5 fuck-ups that they made in a game. It happens. My point is, why invest the time in a goalkeeper that's not going to be here at the end of the season when we have an opportunity to invest the time in a gifted young goalkeeper that's worked his way up through the years at the club and should be given the opportunity? That's my take. I fully respect and understand that others will have a different opinion on it, and that's why I love these chats so much, because, you know, we come in, we share opinions and we disagree at times, but that's okay. Why would Achterberg reveal that Kelleher is going to start? I've no idea, Neil. Maybe it's putting the feelers out there. Maybe it's trying to get the lads' confidence up beforehand. I genuinely don't know, mate. It's been a very strange international window all around. You've seen Marco Grujic have a little pop at Adrian and saying that his career could have been pretty much ended at Liverpool. We've seen Camille Grabara come out and quote tweet somebody who was saying that Liverpool could, I think it was it Oliver Holt or David Maddock, one of the journalists anyway, said that Liverpool could potentially look in for Jack Butland, and then Camille Grabara quote tweeted that without crying laughing emoji face. So it's been a weird time anyway around the goalkeeper situation, and this just kind of adds to that whole mystique around what might happen for the derby. So why are you complaining about Adrian? So because he's shit? I mean, can you honestly, Adam, look me in the eye, mate, and say that Adrian is the solution? That Adrian is going to come in and do a job? My point is, Alisson's the number one. None of us have any doubts about that. When Alisson's there, Alisson plays. Now, the point is, right now we're at a crossroads where we know we're going to need a goalkeeper for 4 weeks or so after the international break. As I would say about a youngster, why give the opportunity? And you can go back and watch previous streams, by the way, when other players who we were known were going to leave the club. I've said give the youngsters a chance, because you might as well invest the time and opportunity in somebody that's going to be here for the long term, or somebody that could potentially be here for the long term, against giving the opportunity to a player who, okay, might have experience but is leaving. So that's the way I look at this situation. I look at it through the eyes that we've got a chance right now. We've got 2 goalkeepers who are, you know, both questionable for different reasons. Why not give the younger lad the opportunity to go out and prove himself? And if it works well, there's your backup goalkeeper potentially for the next 10 years. If it doesn't work well, then what's the worst case scenario? We get Ali back in 4 weeks. That loan that we spoke about earlier on for Kylian Kelleher gets the go ahead in January next summer. He gains more experience and comes back to the club. That's the way I'd look at it. Absolutely accept that people have different opinions though. You keep saying Kelleher's not the answer. Who is the answer then? I mean, I would agree with you that like the likes of going for Ben Foster would be a good move right now, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So the only reason I'm talking about this Kelleher situation is because dipping into the market seems rather unlikely now. We're in Tuesday, tomorrow Wednesday, market closes on Friday, and we've yet to see any real links around it. And there's no benefit to Liverpool taking the time over this, because you would want any potential goalkeeper to be training. So you would have wanted to get them in over the international break to at least give them some time on the training ground before the game. That's why it's looking less and less likely that we may make use of this domestic window to potentially get the likes of Jack Butland or Ben Foster, whoever it is. That's why I'm having this conversation, mate. That's why we're talking about Adrian and Kelleher. Kelleher should play. Calvert-Lewin and James Richarlison, or James Rodriguez and Richarlison, can afford mistakes at the back with Adrian again. Brian said wait for after the Everton game is all I'm saying. It's a big game though, Brian. That's the only thing. It's a big game, and I would rather go into it with a positive mindset than go into it with a negative mindset. If we had beaten Aston Villa even if the mistake had come from Adrian, I think later on in the game, this will be a different conversation. But we're coming off the back of not just a defeat, a horrendous defeat at the hands of Aston Villa, and now we're coming to our local rivals who are already ahead of us in the league table at their gaff in a massive derby. I don't know, man. Having Adrian in between the sticks is not going to fill me full of confidence if I'm watching that game. That's all I'm going to say on it. Right, anyway, let's carry on because there's loads more for us to get through, folks. Dinesh said, Kelleher, we don't know how he'll play without giving him a chance, and Van Dijk will talk to him. There you go. And as John Achterberg pointed out as well, he is training with Alisson day in and day out on the training ground. He's working with one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And one thing I always look for in anybody who makes mistakes, whether it be a right back or a centre back or a goalkeeper, is that they look to learn from those mistakes. Can any of us say to ourselves that it looks like Adrian, throughout his career, has learned from those mistakes or has done things differently? Maybe he has a little bit on the training ground, I don't know. But I'm seeing similar types of mistakes over and over again when he gets opportunities throughout his career, not just at Liverpool. Whereas we don't have that same negative muscle memory, if you want, with Kylian Kelleher. Again, I'm not saying Kylian Kelleher is the long-term solution. I want Liverpool to go out there and bring in a goalkeeper that will really fight with Alisson to at least give him something to think about. But again, I don't like to approach these things in a negative mindset because we're in a very good position as a club right now, coming off the back of one defeat. I suppose let's not all overreact, but it's just unfortunate that we're missing a player that we don't really have cover for. If we were missing a central midfielder, we'd have cover. Centre back, we'd have cover. Left back, cover. Goalkeeper situation, unfortunately, we do seem to have left ourselves a little bit short of the standards that the rest of these players have set. I think that's probably the best way I can put it. What have we got? We have no choice to play Kelleher. Give him a chance, said Rob. Stick with Adrian, said Rob Morehouse. Pilaluga has been slotted into the squad in training. Why buy a 17-year-old and put him in the squad? Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea what the situation is around Pilaluga. 17-year-old, as you've said, brought in from Fluminense, signed with the club, is a Liverpool player now, but the plan surely with him has to be under 23s for the time being because 17 years of age. I mean, Kylian Kelleher has some experience. He's got some international experience. I suppose Pilaluga would have had international experience at underage level with Brazil. It's a tough one, this one. It's the only real headache I think we have going into this game around potential starters. Is it the high line or the obsession with catching players offside? The high line, I've gone through this a few times on the stream, and again, I'm no master tactician, but my take on the high line has always been that the reason we're playing it is because we have trust in the system. So VAR is fairly straightforward. Draw the line, it's offside or it's not offside. But for that system to work, there are risks involved. One, the back four has to time things correctly. But as I've said, also, it's very important that the midfield and the attackers form part of our defence. Their press is really important when playing the high line, because if they don't press and they don't put players under pressure, those players get the chance to look up and see the space in behind and pinpoint their passes, and they've a big margin for error if we're playing a high line. They've got basically the whole of our half to ping that ball into. So what you want ideally is Liverpool forwards or midfielders putting pressure on those Everton midfielders or Everton fullbacks or central defenders to make sure that they don't have the time to get their head up and pick out that long range diagonal pass, that they're forced to either play it through midfield, hit a hit and hope ball, or that we turn over possession further up the field, which will of course lead to us having an attacking opportunity. That's kind of the simple aspects around the high line, but I'm definitely not the one to go in and break this down for you in meticulous detail. The high line only works when we press, and to be honest, Gina and Keita looked very tired, gave some Villa's playmakers too much time on the ball. That won't happen against Everton. So my midfield against Everton would be, depending on Fabinho, obviously, if we were to play Fabinho in the centre-back situation, my midfield would be Thiago, Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum. Straight away there, you've got work rate all over the place, so that's what I will go with if Fabinho was to play in the centre-back position. Matthew said play Matip instead of Gomez. Matip is back training, which is great news, obviously, along with Henderson back training, Mane back training and Thiago back training. That's great news. Happy to have those boys ready for the derby. It will be interesting to see what the centre-back selection is, whether he sticks with Gomez, whether he goes and thinks Matip's ready to drop in, or whether he goes and gives Fabinho an opportunity. It's another interesting decision that the gaffer has to make. Right, Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Wilson. So we know the domestic window's closing on Friday and a number of championship clubs have targeted a potential loan move for Harry Wilson. Originally, the club didn't want Harry Wilson to leave on loan. The plan was he either stays or he goes full. We either sell him or he stays. There was talk of no loans. It seems to be that situation has changed because Harry Wilson will rightly need game time and it looks like he's not going to get that game time at Liverpool. So the club may be open to Harry Wilson leaving on loan before Friday. The clubs that I've seen reported interest from in the Championship are Derby County, Nottingham Forest, Cardiff and Norwich. So again, we'll keep an eye on that before the window closes on Friday. Now, the big story of the night, ladies and gentlemen, the one that you're probably all in here to talk about, and that's the whole situation with the finances. So let me just grab a little drink before we get stuck into this. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video as well. I've something else I want to talk to you guys about later on in the stream, so remind me, it's massive, by the way. You mightn't like it, but it's massive. Right, anyway, let's get into talk about the potential investment in FSG. So there have been more stories coming out of America surrounding a situation that I brought to your attention a few months back but updated you guys on recently, and that's about the potential investment in FSG by Billy Beane. Now, a lot of people probably recognise the name Billy Beane or may not even remember why they recognise the name Billy Beane. He's the person behind the whole Moneyball philosophy from the Oakland Athletics in Major League Baseball. I'm not even going to pretend I've got a Scooby-Doo about baseball. I don't, but we've all seen the film. We've all heard about the story. The latest reports around Billy Beane say that he's ready to walk away from baseball and the Oakland Athletics and team up with John W. Henry and FSG. The report says that the pair are set to formalise their relationship and that Beane will switch his attention to football. Now, again, regular viewers from America will probably know that John W. Henry really tried his best to bring Billy Beane from the Oakland Athletics to the Boston Red Sox, but it just didn't work out. This situation has really taken off over the past week or two. I'm going to go into it in more detail as well. If you haven't seen the little segment I did on this, there's a clip that's going around on the channel right now that you can watch after the stream that explains the investment opportunity in more detail. So, the Echo had their football finance expert on, Kieran Maguire. You've probably heard me mention his name on the stream a few times. Excellent. And the Blood Red podcast, whenever Kieran Maguire's on it, certainly worth a listen to as well. And what I'm about to talk to you about now, came from that latest Blood Red podcast. So, this is what Kieran Maguire had to say about the FSG situation, what a potential stock market flotation could mean for the club. So here's what he had to say. FSG have run both Boston Red Sox and Liverpool Football Club very successfully, both from a financial point of view and a sporting point of view, but they've not seen any cash from that the clubs are effectively breaking even. They've been successful, they've delivered trophies, they're delivering full crowds, they're doing fantastic deals in terms of kit sponsorship and so on, but that's not turning the cash for the owners. By listing the club on the stock exchange, it allows the owners to sell 10, 20, 30% to other investors and generate cash that could be used, for example, for further expansion of Anfield, and instead of having to go to borrow money from the bank, this is effectively funded by a new tranche of shareholders. So those, I think, will be the benefits. Then he goes on to talk about some negatives, and he said the main downside is the stock market is pretty ruthless, and if you're a shareholder, you look for a return on your investment. Now, we've seen at Manchester United over the course of the last 5 years, they've been spending over £20 million per year giving dividends to their shareholders. That's on top of the interest on the loans. So every dollar that goes to shareholders or goes to a bank in interest is a dollar that isn't being invested on the field of play. So there's absolutely benefits and negatives to this. I want to go into it in a bit more detail now because the plan seems to be coming a bit clearer. I've spoke to you guys before about Billy Beane teaming up with a friend of his to create an investment fund. I think it's called Red Ball Corp or something like that, and they've raised £453 million or about $550 million with the aim of investing into a sports team. Now it looks like that they're going to be bringing on another £1 million worth of investment, and they're going to look to buy a 25% stake in FSG as a whole, meaning that they'll be buying a stake in FSG's, their interest in the Red Sox, their interest in Liverpool and everything else. Remains to be seen if that's exactly the way the deal is going to be going. But what does that mean in broad terms for Liverpool Football Club? Well, it could mean a whole host of things. It could mean that Liverpool become almost a parent club to a load of smaller clubs. We could look to go the Red Bull franchise type of model, whereas Liverpool being top of the pile and we have feeder clubs out there. Seen Manchester City have done a similar thing. This could be Liverpool potentially trying to become a super club, if you want to call it that. And there are two ways to look at this. There are people who look at it from a nostalgic point of view and think that football is turning into a money game and it's been absolutely ruined. And there's very valid arguments for that side. But there'll be other people that will think that maybe this will push the club onto long-term sustainable success and bring even more income for the owners and more eyes on the club. And I suppose it's about trying to weigh up the positives and the negatives of any of these situations. Now, I don't know if this is going to be good for Liverpool Football Club or this is going to be bad for Liverpool Football Club. I'm not a football finance expert. All we want as fans is a good 11 players on the pitch, a good manager, a nice stadium to go and watch the team in. And if FSG want to free up some capital in the club by potentially selling off 25%, that's their right to do so. I am a little bit concerned by the stock exchange thing though. And again, I'm not somebody who really understands what it takes to float a company on the stock exchange and what it does entail. But Kieran Maguire certainly is. And to hear him talk about the United situation, which is a little bit different because from what I'm aware of, the owners, the Glazers, leveraged Manchester United to buy out the club, meaning they took a huge loan off the value of the club or against the value of the club, and they have a lot of debt repayments to pay. Even if they're just paying off the interest of those, there's a lot of money gone out of Manchester United on top of what Kieran Maguire spoke about there, which is of course shareholders looking for a dividend, because as he pointed out, the stock market is ruthless and you don't invest out of nostalgia. When you get to that level, you're investing for a return, as he said. Now, our owners have been very patient and their return will be from the sale of the club in the long term or selling 10, 20, 30%. They bought the asset for about, 300 million quid, and right now we're valued at probably about $2 billion, something like that, about £1.5 billion. So their payoff will come in the long term, and if they want to start freeing up parts of that by selling off a minority stake, which they've always said they were open to, that's of course their right to do so. But I'm delighted to hear that the Spirit of Shankly group have at least inquired to the club around this and around the whole Project Big Picture stuff as well, to just try and get some clarity from a fan's point of view, because it's both an exciting and a nerve-wracking time for the football club right now, because yes, this could push us on to the next level, but we don't want the club to be in any way, I suppose, handcuffed in the transfer market with regards to, we've been very clever the way we've gone about things. This could lead maybe to the Kylian Mbappe of this world, or it could lead to us having less money to spend because we continue to do what we do by balancing the books, but then we also have to make repayments to shareholders or dividends to shareholders. It's interesting. It's one that we've got to keep an eye on. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about it. I'm sure there are people out there that have a lot more experience about this than myself, whether from maybe an American perspective, from what's happened with other clubs that could help us out on this. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section if you're watching this back later on, and of course in the live comments now. It's I do like the idea of us potentially becoming a super club. I like the whole idea of us being at the top of a pyramid of smaller clubs that are both used to feed the first team and of course to maybe give players some opportunities and, have working relationships with both sponsors and clubs around the world. That's all part of building a bigger, well-established brand. The likes of the Nike kit deal that FSG have brought in, a little bit different to other kit deals that we've had, in that there's only 30 million guaranteed, but there is that potential there for 20% of all Nike Liverpool merchandise, that if things go well, and it's looking like it will, then that could bump up to be a lot better than a 60-65 million quid a year deal that other clubs have had. So our owners have been very clever in what they've done, and they've probably earned some degree of trust, but Liverpool fans have been burned before, and we're always nervous when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm going to try and figure out as much as I can from my obviously limited abilities here, because I'm not a finance expert. I'm a fan like everybody else. I just want the club to do well. So let me know your thoughts on that anyway, folks. I'm really intrigued to see if you've picked up something. Maybe you're an American viewer who's read something in the Wall Street Journal or something that I've missed out on, and you can shed a little bit of light on it. Genuinely would love to know. Also love to know your take, of course, on Project Big Picture, which has got some backing. I mean, Bolton seemed to like the idea of it. There would be 25% of all annual Premier League revenue given down to EFL clubs. It would also see basically the removal of a one club, one vote system that we currently have, where Premier League clubs, 20 clubs, have one vote each. And then you've got the FA, who have a golden share, which gives them an opportunity to veto any potential things that could they dislike or they think could be in the not in the best interest of the Premier League. So what we have right now is a situation where the 9 clubs who have been the longest in the Premier League, basically, and I went through those clubs last night. They include the likes of Southampton, West Ham, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, all the big 6. They would have more voting rights in the Premier League than the other clubs. There would be no more one club, one vote. It would only take 6 of those 9 clubs to change the future of the Premier League, or to change the way the Premier League is going to be run, or decisions made by the Premier League. So I don't see it getting across the line with regards to Project Big Picture. Personally, I think it needs tweaking, and it's too top heavy. As much as it does look like there's money going down to English Football League clubs, and a lot more money. So to give you some perspective on this, the proposal would be to send 25% of all Premier League annual revenues down to EFL clubs. Right now it's 4%. And this would also remove parachute payments, meaning that the Championship, League 1 and League 2 may become more competitive, because you don't have teams coming down with Premier League money still for a couple of seasons into the Championship, being able to pay higher wages than other clubs, and the money would go down and be divided more equally. That's the plus side of it. There's also a plus side of it for fans. We spoke last night about the other parts of this deal, which would see away fans tickets capped at £20. It would also see some subsidised travel for Premier League away fans, and it would see a minimum of 3,000 away fans at every Premier League game, or what was it? I think it was 8% of the club capacity or the stadium capacity, whichever is the greater number. Then there was an opportunity for Premier League clubs to sell 8 of their own games via their own channels each season. And look, it's a very long, detailed project, and one again worth keeping an eye on. Right, anyway, to the comments. Bernadette said, I think the club's owners should be explaining it to themselves, Craig, so that we can all make our own minds up. It's not clear at the moment. Yeah, it's definitely not clear. That's 100%. Bernadette, there's a lot of questions right now. I don't know which way I look at this. My initial gut instinct is that it's not the right move. Yes, it may benefit us, but is a very small-minded of us to just focus on Liverpool in this scenario. I mean, I've always said we're not just fans of a football club, we're fans of a sport, we're fans of a game, and even though we have banter with opposition fans and stuff, we are all drawn together by the love of the sport and the love of Liverpool from our perspective. So yeah, I don't know. I want what's best for everybody, and I don't like greed, but then again, football is a ruthless business, so we'll wait and see how this one develops. What else is there? They may do everything once it's finalised. I don't know what that's about. Mortal death. We won the league because they got Klopp into development and he couldn't get past the line. So Coutinho brought in players. They've spent nothing and done the minimum. Clearly not a fan of the owners there, mate. And look, that's your right to believe that. You could spin it that way, and I can understand how you think of it that way. You could also spin it the other way and say they've masterminded a rebuild of Liverpool Football Club at minimal cost because of their cleverness in the transfer market, particularly the way that we've gone about selling players. They brought in the best manager in the world. His reputation and his ability to manage people has brought us a squad of players that have got belief and have gotten us a Club World Cup, a Premier League, a Champions League, a Super Cup. That's the way you could look at it as well. But then the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. There probably is some stuff we're blinded to by the success, and there's probably other stuff that the owners could do better. I'm not suggesting that they're perfect in any way, shape or form. That's why I love this. I love coming on here and having conversations, because I'm absolutely willing to accept other people's viewpoints on this, but not just blank, I hate this person, I hate that person. We want it to be a conversation where people get to express their opinions properly. Nagab said, to compete with Manchester City, United and Chelsea, we need investment. See, that's where it gets really tricky for me, mate, because you're talking about Manchester United, completely different animal there. They've built themselves up. They're a money-making machine. They're a huge football club, and they generate that money. Manchester City and Chelsea, kind of different situations in that they've got sugar daddies. One is basically run by a state, and the other is run by a Russian oligarch who is shit tons of money and is willing to, I think he's put in like 1.5, 1.6 billion of his own money into Chelsea already. I think that's what they may owe Roman Abramovich. So it's a little bit different, and I don't want us to have those sugar daddy owners. I've never been a fan that wanted us to have owners that are just willing to throw a shit ton of money at everything and just hope that the best players in the world work. It hasn't worked at Paris Saint-Germain. It hasn't worked elsewhere. I mean, whether it's worked at Manchester City or not, I suppose depends on where you're viewing it from. If you're their owners, they went in there wanting to win the Champions League because they think it really gives them more credibility. I think they've had massive success domestically. There's no denying that. Guardiola has done wonders at Manchester City, but he hasn't delivered them the big one. The way our owners have gone about it, spending a lot less, we've gone and delivered trophies. So I don't know what's right and I don't know what's wrong. I'm just a fan, as I always keep saying, with an opinion. Umir said, Craig, do you think FSG have got the club's best interests at heart? Yes and no. I don't think that they have the same emotional pull to Liverpool Football Club as the rest of us would have as fans. But do I think that they've warmed to the club and maybe fallen in love with it a little bit in their time here? Yeah. Do I also think they want to make money? Absolutely, of course they do. And they bought the club for a very reasonable fee, and they've done well to develop it and will sell it down the line for a tremendous profit. So I don't think that they're angels, but I don't think they're the worst owners either. I mean, I would take 1,000 FSGs over the Glazers any day of the week. What else is there? Didn't work at Paris Saint-Germain because players only joined there for the wages. Exactly. The wrong project. You come to Liverpool, you play under Jurgen Klopp. It's more about a group thing. It's not about individuals. And that's the mistake that I think these sugar daddy owners often make, is they think that if they go out there and just sprinkle in some world-class talent, you'll get the club to where it wants to be. And that sometimes works in the short term. But the way we've gone about it with Klopp is developing this team, the next team, looking towards the future. And look, can we deny that it's brought us tremendous success? No, it has, absolutely. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something. I've seen a couple of mentions of it in the chat, and if you're on Twitter, you probably know where I'm going with this one. How do I pitch this? So, I've been given an opportunity to work in this industry. I have to be very careful about what I say here because I kind of can't give out too much information on it at the minute, but I've been given an opportunity that would see my family and I move abroad, and it would see me be able to work full time in this industry. But that opportunity would mean that I would have to stop Anfield Agenda. So the last 48 hours or so have been really difficult for my family and myself, and Connor, of course, to an extent as well, because I genuinely don't know what to do. It's a solid opportunity. It's not my dream opportunity. It's not the move to America that I've spoken about before. That's always been my dream, is to run Anfield Agenda, but to live in Florida. That's always been my goal. But it's a very difficult situation. Do I take the job and uproot my family and move to somewhere to work in an industry? Not the ideal job. It wouldn't be top of my list, but it's a very good, solid job with somebody whom I trust implicitly. Or do I roll the dice, stay as we are, and keep trying to build Anfield Agenda and see what happens down the line? It's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I don't know what to do. I genuinely don't know what to do. Now, whatever happens, it'll be the far side of Christmas, one way or the other. But yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Anyway, we'll carry on. We'll talk about the stream. A lot of people saying, just take it, just take it. Feeding the family is more important, could be a good thing. Do what's best for you and the family. And look, that's fully what I expected from you guys, because you've always had my best interests at heart from day one, and the same with Connor. I'm somebody that's never been driven by money. I've said that to you guys since we started the channel in day one. To walk away from this would be very gut-wrenching, because this means more to me than the streams. This means more to me than subscriber numbers. This is a group of people out there who have shaped my life, helped my life, made my life better, put me in this position where this opportunity has arose, and I won't walk away from that lightly. So yeah, just bear with me is all I'm saying. Yeah, lots of conversations, lots of tough conversations to be had with the family and the missus. But it's weird because like it should be a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be a sad thing or a gut wrenching thing. But yeah, it's defo one that we have to consider. But I don't know. Just bear with me anyway. But in the short term, you don't have to worry about anything. Nothing will be happening this side of Christmas. And we'll continue to move on. But it's going to be a tough couple of days for me and the L missus to try and talk this through and figure it out. What's your Insta? It's just at Anfield Agenda, mate. That's the Instagram account. Yusuf said, Craig, the opportunity might not come again. Take it while you can. Why can you not do both? Contractually, I wouldn't be able to. That was one of the kind of, not caveats of the offer, but I wouldn't. Everything full focus would have to be on this thing, because I can't go into too much detail here, but it would make sense if I could. So if I do say yes, I will obviously be able to go into more detail. Is the job involving sport? I love when people have to figure it out. Yes, it is. Can you combine the two? No, not allowed. Anyway, look, don't worry about that. We'll figure this out down the line. I just wanted to say it to you guys because I've always been open about everything on here since day one. I've had a couple of other little bits and pieces that have been offered to me over the past year or so, but nothing life-changing that I would ever going to say yes to. And look, financially, from where I am right now, I can get by. I've never been someone that's driven by money, so I can get by with what we are now. And there's every opportunity in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, Anfield Agenda would be a business. There's every opportunity of that. We're heading in the right direction. Connor's been very clever in a lot of stuff that he's doing to help us out in the background that you guys never see, and I'm forever singing his praises because he deserves all that praise. As Del Boy says, he who dares wins. But yeah, I'll counter that though, Dinesh, and something I said to my missus before we started the stream. Of another phrase that somebody told me before, and that you never have to talk yourself into doing the right thing, which is something that I've always believed in as well. So gut feeling is important, and I suppose it's just trying to figure out whether your gut feeling are nerves or just not the right buzz. Craig, you're 40, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I'm not 40, fuck you. I'm 39, and next year I'll be 39.1, and the following year 39.2. As I've said, I'm only going to do updates and software glitches from this point forward. I'm never getting to 40, mate. Just refuse to it. There you go. Elijah John 5 knows. Craig's not. He's 39.1. You going to work for FSG? No. Absolutely not. Upgrade to a 2012, McGann, said Rob. That's the dream, mate. You know what I mean? Living the dream. Can Connor run it while you take the job? It's not really a Connor thing to sit in front of a camera and talk, mate. It's not his bag. It's it's not his thing. Anyway, it might feel sweeter to build it up yourself. That's the thing, man. That is the thing. I fucking love doing this. Excuse my language again, sorry. I love doing this, and I don't really give a shit about the financial aspects of it. Yeah, you got to keep the lights on, and we get that from memberships and super chats. We've enough to keep going with regards to the channel itself. And it is an interesting job offer, but it's not the dream job offer. It's not the one I've been speaking about since this channel launched. I've always told you guys I want to go and live in Florida or Texas and run Anfield Agenda from there long term. That's always been my goal. And if I can combine that with work over there that helps me get into the country, great. But this isn't that opportunity. As good a chance as it isn't your dream. It isn't my dream. So let's just wait and see. Craig, you're 55, take it. How dare you, sir? And funnily enough, the last 3 generations of the male side of my family haven't seen 55, buddy. Any news about transfers at Dark Shadow? No, actually, it's really quiet at the minute. Other than the genuine Yaldum stuff I touched on earlier on, with Barcelona being interested maybe in January. That's all that I've really seen over the past 24, 48 hours. There was more stuff in the Echo about potential stuff for Ousmane Dembele, but that shit comes around every window and it's always nonsense. Score predictions for Everton. I'm going to do a preview on Thursday night for that one, mate. I'm recording the Paul Tompkins interview on Thursday afternoon. Then I'm going to do a stream on Thursday night, and I'm going to do a preview then, which will be released on the Friday. Also, the Everton preview is going to act as the 50k giveaway, so make sure you don't miss out on that video, because that's going to be the video where we tell you guys how you can enter the Anfield Agenda 50k giveaway. And just to let you know what that giveaway entails, we broke this the other day. We're going to give somebody, that one person's going to get a £50 Amazon voucher, their choice of any shirt they want from 3 Retro, and 4 LFC prints from Sean Leonard Art, which we've already bought and paid for and agreed with Sean. So prices are all there and ready to go for one lucky winner. And make sure you watch the Everton preview to be in with a chance to win that prize package. And then we've got some more giveaways coming up as well. You don't look 39, Craig, said Rob. Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much, mate. I'll defo take that one. Would you move to the UK? Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's very similar to Ireland. Yeah, wouldn't have any problem moving to the UK. Now, don't take it, Craig. If you're second guessing at Anfield Agenda, it's gone some serious places. I promise you that. That's my... A year ago, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have hoped for, but not thought that Anfield Agenda could ever potentially go on to be a business. In the last 12 months, particularly in the last 3 months, things have really changed, and the channel is moving to a place where, yeah, we can realistically see a pathway to it becoming a business down the line. I can't tell you guys about a lot of stuff that happens in the background, but we're starting to be approached by a lot more people now who are looking for us to do little bits with them, which is very interesting. But yeah, I fucking love this stuff so much. Yeah, this is our baby. Do you know what I mean? This is Connor and I. This is our baby. It's your baby. But anyway, look, enough negativity. Let's move on. Right, I'll do another 10 minutes before we finish up, because I'm going to take tomorrow off, ladies and gentlemen. England are playing, Ireland are playing, and a lot of you guys are going to want to watch the matches as well. So I won't be dragging your asses on for a late night agenda tomorrow. So we'll carry on for a few more minutes tonight. And yeah. I could have swore that you were in your 20s, said Kieran. I will take that. You are now my new best mate, Kieran. Me and you, mate, forever now. Yeah, I don't know how old I do look, but I don't think I don't look 39. I mean, here's a shocker for you. I'm younger than Goldbridge, that I'm aware of anyway. Do you think we could get Mbappe? Honestly, Evan, no. I don't think we could ever afford his wages. But with this potential takeover, sorry, I was very critical of Connor for trying to use that word earlier when we were talking investment in FSG. I don't know, mate. I thought it's exciting. I don't know what the future holds. Well, just know we're with you, brother, said Tierna. Mate, I've never thought any other way. Honestly. I often get messages, and I'm sure Connor does as well, to say that the channel has helped somebody in some way, shape or form get through a difficult time or stuff like that. You know, I don't like to go into specifics because it's people's private lives. But as I've always said, whatever this channel may or may not have done for anybody else, what it has done for me is life-changing. And by that, I don't mean in any way about media or subscriber numbers, anything like that. I mean, as a human being, what you have done for me, I can never repay. Changed my life to a different human being. Opened my eyes to see who I really am. And that means a lot to me. A lot. Personal relationships are really important to me, and I view each of this as like 52,300 personal relationships. It's the job Jamie Webster's dancer and backup singer. You've got me, mate. I'm going to be on a stripper pole behind him. Yeah, that's it. You've got me. He only looks young because he's got no grey hairs. I've got a few in the little bits of stubble I have here, mate. What country would your job take you to? Again, I can't give you that information. It's in Europe. I can say that much to you. Yeah, it's in Europe. That much I can say. Goldbridge has a free bus pass. He's a pensioner. Now. Be nice to Mark. Mark's a good friend of the channel. Craig, I'm 69 and a half. You're a young man, said Tony Kilmartin. Wow. Nice. I love that we've got such a good mix of viewership in our channel. Got people 16, 17, 18, got people probably younger than that, got people in the 50s, 60s. It's great. I love it. I love the mix that we have here. Do I want the investment to happen? I want more information, really, mate, before I'd be able to give my 2 cents. This isn't a simple yes or no answer. There are some pluses to it and there are some minuses to it. I think the important factor here would be what's driving the potential investment. That's where I think key would be to Liverpool fans. What's the long game here? And that's, I suppose, what we're going to look to try and figure out, and what Liverpool fans around the world are going to try and figure out. Lone Star Londoner said, I'm in Austin, Texas, and it's 90 here today. Don't you tease me, mate. See, don't you... Now, let me be honest with you. If somebody came in and said, hey, Craig, here's a job, come move to America, work 9 to 5 or whatever, and then go to Anfield Agenda at night, that is my dream. Tick me, sign me up, pack my bags, me and the family gone. That's my dream. That's my dream. Always been my dream. How are you doing, Craig? I'm alright, mate. I'm not bad. Lara said 1 year to 50 and he's still young. You're only as young as you feel, mate. And I feel very old. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm a very old 39. Do I watch the NFL? Little bits and pieces. I'm starting to watch it more, actually, as the years have gone by. I've never really been one to watch many American sports. I've never really been mad into basketball. Watched a little bit growing up. Never watched baseball whatsoever. Never been into ice hockey. But yeah, American football, I would often watch it on Sky, particularly late on Monday nights and stuff. Craig, love your channel and I'm 70, said David. Wow, massive love, man. Thank you so much for coming in and watching and being here with us. Will I still be around for 20 times? Well, technically no, would be the answer to that, mate, if I said yes. How's the family doing today? Good, healthy, happy and good, mate. And that's the most important thing for me. Did I ever play GAA or hurling? Hurling, no. GAA, yes. I think you have an overinflated opinion of what American life is really like. Potentially, yeah. I mean, I've only ever seen it from a tourist point of view, mate. You're right. I mean, I've been to America 7 times. Florida, I think 6 times at this rate. And yeah, it's a very good point. I've only ever seen it through tourist eyes, absolutely. And when you're over there on a holiday, you genuinely don't really have money worries because you've got a few quid with you that you've saved up or whatever. So yeah, I get you. And the healthcare system scares the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do fully take on board what you're saying, mate. Is your job offer to replace Martin Tyler? Do you honestly think that Sky or BT or any of these companies will go anywhere near me? To be fair, I'd be fired in a day. What have we got? It's only good to live in America if you're rich. Yeah, that's something I've always said to the missus as well. If you were ever going to move to America, you would certainly want to make sure that you can afford to live a good standard of living. What else have we got here? You don't want to live in America if you have medical issues, said MP. Yeah, actually, do you know what? Physically, I'm pretty healthy, actually. But outside of the anxiety stuff, and yes, of course, being overweight, I don't really have too many issues. I've got asthma, but very light asthma at this point. It's not too bad. And other than that, we're all actually healthy as a family. My wife's no underlying medical conditions. My kids, my son has autism, but you know, that doesn't really require medical attention. More requires specific type of schooling and other help. So yeah, well, we're all right in that sense. Who's the most underrated Liverpool Premier League 11? Oh, that's a difficult question, mate, that I'd have to sit down and scribble out someday. Thoughts on Ronaldo testing positive? The same as everybody else, Murad. I wish him a speedy recovery and yeah, I hope he gets back to playing football soon. Same as any other person that's unfortunate enough to test positive. I just wish them full health as soon as possible. What's the possible lineup for a Merseyside derby? Right, before I do that, and I'll finish up on that, one more shout tonight for memberships. If anybody wants to join Anfield Agenda FC, you get all the custom badges that you can hear on the screen. Starts off with bronze, becomes red eventually. Get use of all the custom emojis that Mr. Connor Crosby has designed for Anfield Agenda as well. You get use of the Anfield Agenda Discord group, which is where we share the innermost secrets of the channel and get your feedback on what you think we should and shouldn't be doing moving forward. Yeah, that's all. $4.99 a month. Click on the join button if you want to become a member. If you don't, great. Just happy to have you here with us and keep your comments coming. Right, as I said, before we finish up tonight, there was something else. The possible lineup for the derby. I'm thinking goalkeeper, because I don't know yet which one that will be. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Van Dijk, Robertson, Thiago, Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Mane, Firmino, Salah. And I know people are going to question Firmino. And if it was any other game except the derby, I would probably understand the likes of Takumi Minamino getting an opportunity. But I've always said I think this game is made for Bobby Firmino. So for me, I'd stick with Bobby for this one. And yeah, that's the 11 that I'm thinking in my head at this point anyway. Craig, I watch you from Maryland, USA. It's not bad. I love it. Move if you can. Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, as I said, my experience of the States has always really been positive, but it's only been from a vacation standpoint, albeit I've spent a fair whack of time over there, to be fair. What else we got? What about Everton versus Liverpool? Full preview, Joseph, coming up on Thursday, mate, so keep your eye out for that one. You should probably do a members only content, which will encourage anyone to join, help out the channel. We've always said from day one, mate, we will never put our content behind the paywall. So I don't want money being a barrier for anybody to be able to come in and join and watch what we do. The memberships are there as an additional little add-on with a few little perks to help the channel out. I can't stand and could not sleep at the thoughts of people being unable to come in and interact with Reds because money stops them. I don't want money to be a barrier for anybody in life, and I'd rather make less money than stop somebody from being able to come in and share and chat, particularly at the time that we're in where people are in a very stressed situation right now. I don't want to put barriers in front of anybody for them to be able to not see our content. So I get the thought process behind it, and yeah, probably would work from a financial standpoint, but I'd rather have the interaction, I'd rather have the people on here than to put barriers up in front of them. Any thoughts you doing the Liverpool career mode on FIFA? Funnily enough, mate, not joking with you, I was only talking with Connor about this an hour a bit ago before we did the stream, and asking him, should I do some FIFA stuff? It's been years since I've played FIFA, so I probably need a month to get up to speed. Elijah John 5 said, I have a feeling Craig will stay, with a smiley face. Martin Tyler hates LFC. I don't know if he does or not, but I can tell you one thing, LFC fans do not fucking like Martin Tyler very much for obvious reasons. In-Gear Driving School said, this is why everybody loves Craig. I don't know what he means by that. I love Anfield Agenda. Sorry, I don't know what he means by that. I don't know what I've done to make that statement, but thank you. Love the stream, said Ronan Kenny. Thank you, buddy. Brian said, I think FIFA's very different these days. Definitely, man. There was no in-game purchases around the last time I was playing FIFA. And that's one of the things that actually made me stop playing. When that stuff started being introduced into the game, I just thought, nah, I don't like it. It's just a money grab. If you're spending 70 quid on a game, and then you've got to go and spend more money, and then you've got to go and have Xbox Live memberships or whatever to go and play with your friends, it just doesn't sit well. I mean, I'm somebody that thinks if I spend 70 quid on a game, that should be it. It's up to me to get better at the game. But other than that, I shouldn't be able to lose to somebody just because they've got more money than me and they can go out there and buy a shitload of players or whatever. But that then again shows my naivety about FIFA these days. I've got no clue. It's good to see Mane back training, said Jake. Brilliant, mate. Mane back, Hendo back, obviously getting some international minutes as well, so he'll be available. Thiago back training as well. Joe Matip back training. Loads of positives there for the Reds. Where did I buy the chair? It comes from a company called Serendipity Furniture. I'm sure one of our mods will put a link into the chat now. So you'll find them on Facebook, you'll find them on Instagram, you'll find them on Twitter. It is a real chair. A lot of people think that this is part of the green screen. It's not. This is a genuine chair. And look, I'll bang it just so you can hear that it's real. And I love it. I love it, mate. I really do. It's one of my prized possessions, and if ever I do move, this bad boy's coming with me anywhere. You don't have to spend. You can still get a good team without FIFA points. Again, thank you, genuinely, because I don't know anything about it these days. I thought it was the green screen. No, genuine chair, mate. Look, I'll move. You can see the liver bird and my surname is embroidered on the chair. Serendipity Furniture make bespoke pieces like this, and you know, I love this chair. I really do. Craig versus Goldbridge FIFA 21. Maybe. Never rule it out, Kai. Maybe someday. I mean, I can imagine I'd absolutely get slaughtered because I haven't played it in so long, and Mark seems to be playing it all the time. I'd imagine he'd hand me my ass on a plate, but it'd definitely be fun. It's a champion's chair. We call it the throne in my house, mate. It genuinely is one of my favourite things in the world, and I'm extremely privileged to own it. And I'm very thankful to Serendipity Furniture as well. The chair is the go. It is. It's fucking amazing. It's some, like, people have asked me, can they come in and take a picture with the chair? Not me. Couldn't give a fuck about me or Connor, but they've asked me about the chair. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring it to a close. It's been a very long stream tonight. I won't be here tomorrow, as I've said. I'm going to take tomorrow off. We'll be back on Thursday. I've got a really busy day. I'm filming an interview with Paul Tompkins on Thursday afternoon. We'll have our stream on Thursday night, and then I'll be recording the Everton preview as well. And the Everton preview will be acting as our 50k giveaway, so do not miss out on that video. Don't forget to download the Anfield Agenda Flick Chat group as well. There's a link in the description of this stream. Go over to Flick Chat, interact with us offline there. We use Flick for the likes of our Man of the Match poll and stuff like that. It's completely free to download. It's completely free to use. There's no barriers, no money. You won't be asked to buy things or anything like that. There's a link in the description. There's 1,200 people or so in our Flick Chat group, which is amazing, but the more the merrier, so we hope to see you over there. And look, as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all your input tonight. Thank you for all your good wishes, and if we've disagreed on anything tonight, please don't take it to heart. It's just a conversation, and I don't mean any ill feeling if anybody feels like I've been a bit snappy or anything like that. Look after your families, stay well, stay healthy. Lots of love to each and every one of you, and I'll see you amazing guys on Thursday. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the stream. Up the Reds. Love to you all.